Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to Show and Tell 250. Oh, we're at 260. Yay. Today is March 13th, 2025. I am filming the day this is uploading. I did not have a Tuesday video. Life, once again. What do I keep saying? She be a lifin'. And that's a good thing. It's a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a bad thing. It's just crazy. Like my brain has not functioned properly now in a while. It's been a very, very, very busy, and trying to find time to do anything like self-care or crafting or just tucking in and finishing watching anything has been a nightmare. So we have had home appointments, vet appointments, human doctor appointments. It's just been banana pants. And I predicted this a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to be honest, I have things projected out on my calendar through May, which is not usual for me. Normally, my schedule only goes out about 2 to 3 weeks. And right now I have 2 things on the schedule for next week, maybe 3. I have stuff on the schedule for this weekend. I have stuff the next week. I have a big doctor's appointment, which I'm not looking forward to at all. Then Troy has a big doctor's appointment. It's going to be a minor outpatient surgery. So that's going to kind of be a big deal because I will be driving for everything and I will have to take care of him. So that's going to, once again, eat into the time. We have, once again, just like all the Easter and Lent stuff coming up and all the activities involved with that. It's been bananas and it will continue to be bananas. So I'm going to try to not just say once again, every week, it's been bananas or make apologies for how little or how much I'm getting done. I'm just going to let you know once again, it's bananas. And even things like outside of the household has been crazy here because we literally went from a high of 42 and the next day was 77. And it was rainy in 42 and then sunny in 77. So little over here. It's just been all over the place. And of course that's, I've said before, with my seasonal allergies, sometimes taking my allergy medicine makes me kind of anyway, and I can't figure out why I'm in a haze. It's like, is this a migraine? Is this allergies? Is this just my body saying, no, you can't think today? And so we never know what's going to happen over here. It's just, it is what it is. We're also in the middle of doing a massive shift and reorganization and redesign on a couple, how we're using the space in the house. This always seems to happen about 2 to 3 years into moving into a place. I'm kind of surprised it's happening so quickly. It's only been 18 months since we moved in here. So we're actually kind of starting a little bit early on the big reorganization process in the house, which is kind of weird. But that it's eating a little time, but not a ton of time. It's just been kind of crazy, but I am excited. So with the reemergence of decent weather and having a little bit more time in the afternoon, I have been trying to shift my strength training workouts to after lunch and before dinner. So I have time to take a walk while it's pretty outside as kind of a cool down, decompression time. And was very excited. I was able to finally finish Friends Cold Feet project Friends Cold Feet. So these are a pair of men's socks. They are between a 9.5 and a 10. We didn't have his exact shoe size, so I kind of went with a looser foot but a tighter leg to be able to make sure that the socks were staying up and stuff. So we have a rounded toe, just knit straight for the body of the sock or the foot of the sock. We have the short row heel, the shadow wrap heel from Earth Tone Girls. the toe, heel, and cuff is using Mary Maxim Simply Sock in Slate, which is color number 001. And the body of the sock here is using Sweet Feet in Lime. So I did not know what the pattern of this yarn was going to be when I started these socks. I just went from the outside and the inside of the cake of yarn when I caked it up. So we had green, gray, and then we had one row of green and then the big section of gray. So what I did is I took the leg in a knit 3, purl 3 rib until I was able to directly mimic what the toes looked like. So these are exact inverse socks. And then I took the cuff and I did 15 more rows of a knit 2, purl 2 rib. And the reason why I only did 15 is these were getting kind of tall. And this is a person who has been going barefoot all winter, making my husband's feet cold all day. So I'm assuming, as he's only a couple of years younger than me, he's about my brother's age, little brother's age. So I would assume he probably has that little bit of millennial in him where shorter socks tend to be what he wears. So I did go ahead and make these a little bit shorter than I would have made like socks for my dad or my husband. So a little bit shorter, but we did do a knit 3, purl 3 rib, and then a knit 2, purl 2 rib to finish it off. And this is where I was last week. So I got all of this done between one walk and the week's worth of Bible studies. I finished these on Tuesday. It took me till yesterday morning to finish weaving in the ends. I loathe weaving in ends. I have a bag of projects and a stack of projects that they're done. I just need to weave in the ends on them. So maybe sometime over the next couple weeks, I will work on weaving in the ends. Like a whole bunch of the socks that I made last year still need to have their ends woven in on. Like the upside for me in doing socks toe up is I can get a much better fit. I enjoy knitting toe up, especially doing 2 at a time like I have been. But the problem is closing the toe, like tightening up those stitches and everything. I kind of hate when you Kitchener your toe shut when you're doing top down socks. I find I get the ends woven in a little bit faster that way. But having to come through and tighten my toe stitches, not my favorite activity on earth. Especially when I'm working in a dark color like this, it was a little tedious. And every heel toe cuff change that I have are 2 extra ends that I have to weave in. So it does sometimes take me just a little while. But I have a sweater I really want to start wearing, a t-shirt sweater that I made last year that I need to weave in the ends on. I have a stack of shawls that I need to finish weaving in the ends on. I have socks that I need to weave in the ends on. I made 2 baby hats last month that I need to weave in the ends on. So yeah, lots of finishing work left to do. So my new sock project is going back to what was originally supposed to be February self-striping socks. I'm trying to do 12 this year, and the goal is to do 1 a month, or at least cast on 1 a month. So I am now back to working on my Regia socks. These will probably be for me, or I will do these in like a foot size that will fit like a 7.5 to a 9.5 women's foot. But these are another self-striping yarn. This is some ancient Regia. This is from, once again, this has been in my stash for more than 6 years. So I don't think this colorway is available anymore at this point. But when y'all saw these last time in February, I was here. So this morning I got this far. Not much, but it's something to share, something to show for it. So this will be my new Bible study and workout program sock. I am trying to get either a very low cardio, like I'm not trying to hit or, increase my heart rate stupid high or anything. I'm just trying to once again keep fluid movement in my joints type cardio. So walking is perfect when we have nice, beautiful sunny days like we're supposed to have today. But I do have some indoor workouts that I can take way down, and I tend to do better at keeping them way down if I have a project like this on hand to work on. So hopefully these won't take, 4 weeks to finish. Hopefully I can get these finished before March, because I already have 2 more pairs of socks that I would like to get cast on. For my self-striping socks for April, I have pulled this Lion brand Mani Petty. So this isn't deep stash. This was purchased when we still lived in Charlotte, I believe. Once again, I don't think they have any dates on their production here, but this has at least been in my stash 4 years. Yeah, there's no type of dating on here. So anyway, the stats on this yarn, this is a super fine size 1 yarn. It is 75% superwash wool, 25% polyamide. I've got 2 of these. They are 50-gram balls, 1.75 ounces. These are 219 yards. 219 yards, 200 meters each. And this is the color Crew. And so trying to do a pair of self-striping socks every month, this will be April's self-striping socks. And I think for this pair, what I'm going to do is I am going to use the helical rib stitch to do a pair of tube socks. That way, if I don't want to keep them for myself, I can easily gift them to a friend. I'll still probably cast on 64 stitches and do a women's, width that will fit like a, say, 6.5 to like a women's, like 9.5 maybe. But yeah, and I'm just going to take this until the yarn runs out. So I will try to use all 100 grams of this. So this will be another larger pair of socks like Project Friends Cold Feet. So this will take me a little bit longer. So I'm really hoping I can get the Regia socks done a little bit quicker, so I have time to work on this, because it will be a little bit harder to walk and knit maintaining the helical knit for these. So the last pair I did were just straight tube socks in a rib stitch. The helical way to do it, so it kind of hugs the top of the ankle and the heel a little bit better, is every row you move 1 stitch down. So you'll start with a knit, 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 purl, purl, purl. The next row you're going to start with a purl, knit, 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 purl, 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 and you'll end with 2 purls at the end of the row. And then the next row will be purl, purl, knit, knit, knit. So that's how I'm going to do this pair. A little bit different. We'll see how I like how that fits. The other pair, I like how it fits the bottom of my foot fine. It's a little bit tight around the heel, and it's a little bit baggy on top of the foot, which is kind of what tube socks do. So this time I just want to try the helical to see what I think about that. So I'll do my normal rounded toe that I prefer, and then we'll see how the helical rib stitch works as far as making tube socks. But because these are going to be large, like a larger pair of socks, where we're going to aim for more of like a 85-gram, 90-gram pair of socks versus my normal like 50-gram pair of socks, we'll see how this works out. The ones that I want to do for May to start off the month will actually be very quick, because I want to try, I have a pattern for a fold over cuff ankle sock. And I'm going to use one of the partial freckle whimsies that I purchased from Lauren earlier this year to do that. That'll be part of the Spooky Spring Make-Along in May, because it's time to get spooky, or it will be in another 6 weeks. So I will do that for May. That will be my first pair of socks out of the gate for the month of May. Once again, keeping with the 1 pair of self-striping socks a month, so I can hit the goal of 12 by the end of the year. And I'm trying really hard to not make everything just like fit me. I do have 2 daughter-in-laws. I have 4 stepsons. I have a granddaughter that's, getting into her more adult size feet finally. So things like that will stick around for a little bit longer, maybe. Kind of exciting. So now I can start kind of spreading out the socks just a little bit more. The other pair of socks I'm going to probably use as more like my walking socks versus my Bible study socks are a pair of socks I'm going to make for Troy. So he said once again, he'll try. He's not always a huge fan of wearing things that I make. I think part of it is he's afraid he's going to destroy it. And part of it is he doesn't know how to incorporate discreet knitwear. Like if I made him a big chunky sweater, he would totally wear that. But like things like the hat, scarf, sock stuff, I don't think he really knows how to incorporate those more into his wardrobe. Whereas for me, it's like I've made 900 of these. If one gets destroyed, I'm not devastated, and socks can always be darned. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm going to do a custom pair of fit socks using some Knit Picks Hawthorne out of my stash. So this is the color Compass. It's one of the kettle dyed. This will be the heel toe cuff. And this one is North Star. I did not go for a celestial thing. I think this actually came from a fall collection that they had a couple of years ago. So these were not actually intended to go together originally, but I'm going to do the heel toe cuff with the gold and do the blue for the body of the sock. So he wears much higher socks. He prefers much higher dress socks. So I'm going to see how this works, if these are comfortable in his shoes, and I'll have him try them on multiple times. But he does have a big foot. Only he's over 6 foot. So we make quite the pair. But yeah, so he does prefer a much higher leg sock. So I know I'm probably going to run out of the blue if I try to do the whole sock in the blue. So I definitely wanted to have a contrast heel toe cuff or just a heel and toe, depending on how it's fitting. But for him, for this sock, we'll do the rounded toe with just a straight stockinette foot, the shadow wrap heel, and then we'll do stockinette for the legs. So it'll be, super basic vanilla sock. And we'll probably aim for 25 rows of ribbing at the top of the sock. So all of that having been said, this will probably be my socks for walking and trying to get that low cardio in and just maintain some joint mobility. I've had so much inflammation recently and just so much stiffness and grindiness in my joints. I need the lubrication. So I'm not doing like my 5-mile walks like I was doing last summer. I'm just aiming for like 2.5 miles just to get that motion in. One of the advantages I've also noticed, I tend to slump and slouch when I walk, but when I knit and walk, I actually have to hold myself up better. And where I injured my back in a car accident, it actually helps take that pressure off as I'm walking and knitting. So it's actually turned into a really good thing for me. Next in my basket of goodies here, we will see these again on Saturday's video where I'm talking about the March make-along for the year of the make-alongs. This month's theme was projects that we have been sitting on that we've collected the supplies for but just not started, or we got a kit, or we made a kit. Everything's all together. We just haven't started the project. First off, we have my Ruana, our Ruana poncho wrap, granny square, warm, squishy goodness, whatever I want to call it. So I had an inspiration pattern that I originally saw that inspired this project, but I didn't want to do the stitch pattern that she did in her granny squares. I wanted something a little bit squishier and a little less textural. This yarn is fairly dark, and a lot of the texture that was in the original pattern I don't think would really show up great. So I have elected to do this glorious granny stitch, or I can't remember what Creative Grandma called this, but I will leave both of those linked down below. But this is just a post-stitch granny square. So right now I am from my neck to right here as far as the length goes. The goal is between 22 and 25 inches. I think I'm at like right at 20 inches. So I want to make this as covering as possible without being too oversized on me. So this is project number 1. This is the first square. I am already on the 3rd ball of yarn. So this is probably going to take 3 500-gram skeins of yarn per granny square. So this is actually a much larger project than I realized it was going to be as far as how much yarn it's going to use in the end, which is fine. I have plenty of this yarn. And I still have plenty. If I take out another 3 skeins, I still have plenty up here to make my cardigan with one day. It is, I'm going to be transparent here. It is 7:30 in the morning here. Bear with me here. That's part of the reason why my brain is like, I'm going to go all over the place. I'm going to do whatever I want. Because it's just too early for me to be trying to focus on anything. Next project, my crocodile granny slippers. So far all I have is 1 sole done. My next step is going to be coming around the sole and starting to build up. This pattern, once again, uses post stitches. That wasn't intentional. It also uses the crocodile stitch. So this is the pattern. This was a Craftsy pattern before Craftsy became Blueprint. And now it's gone back to being Craftsy again. But they only have the media portion. They aren't selling supplies, I don't believe, unless they've changed that too. I disassociated with them. I had some thoughts and feelings as to what was going on. There were things I liked and things I didn't like. So anyway, this is using Fern in Lion Brand Vanna's Choice. These were actually, the aim is for these to be a Christmas gift this year. So I would like to get them done. I also would like, I mean, that's a hefty piece of space in my stash here that I would like to get used up here. So I did want to share, I did get some surprise happy mail. And it was kind of funny. Saturday we were rushing out of the house because we were going to go see my mother-in-law, spend some time with her, and then we wanted to go to Mass Saturday night we were already going to be in town. We may as well just make it a one-stop trip, take Sunday off and just vegetate and be still for a little while. Because even Troy's schedule has been the same as mine, where like we just don't have downtime. And so we were trying to get everything knocked out on Saturday. And as I'm getting ready to leave, I'm like, oh no, I need to feed the cats. And then I look out the front door and there's a package sitting there. And I was like, that's weird. I wasn't expecting a package from anybody. And then I saw the infamous red tape here and I'm like, I'm going to place an order, but I don't think I did. We do have a review coming up I'm very excited about. But yeah, I was kind of like, what's going on here? So for the first time ever, I had fully unsolicited happy mail from a brand that I love. If you've been here for any length of time, you will be very familiar with how much I love Premier Yarn. I adore the anti-pilling collection. It's one of my all-time favorite acrylic yarns. I've shown you all the blanket that I made years ago. It just holds up so amazing. But they did send me some happy mail and perfect timing because we're already getting warm here. So they are a couple miles or a couple hours north of me in North Carolina. They're actually about 35 minutes from where I used to live in Charlotte. So they've got about the same weather that I do, but y'all are used to seeing me with my giant thermos cups and stuff. So y'all already know, if you've been here before, how much of a sucker I am for giant conveyances of hydration. And I can't take my normal cups in the car because, especially like the 40-ounce one, does not fit. And I broke my camelback. So this ended up being absolutely perfect. And I have an event on Saturday where we will be outside for many hours. this will be coming with me. So I'm very excited. And it was a very, very unexpected gift from Premier. On top of that, they also sent some stickers, which I have not looked through. I did have to open the box and be like, what on earth is this? Because I didn't order anything yet. We will have 2 reviews of Premier products coming up here over the next couple of months. So keep your eyes peeled. Aw, they're all fruits. We got fruits. So y'all know I like the fruits line. And then we also just have a Premier yarn sticker. So these will go on my knitting needle box. I need to eventually share with you guys what that looks like now that I've started putting stickers all over it. But I finally found a home for all the knitting and crochet and yarn related stickers that I have collected. And it's adorable. It is turning out so cute. And I took from the Happy Mail you guys have sent me, I've also been adding like any of the directly yarn and crochet related things onto that box as well. So we have some very cute memories on that box now. So, but thank you so much to Premier for sending me the water bottle. It will definitely get used. We still have a few more weeks at minimum if we stay in the 70s, low 80s before the pool is open, but we will be starting our outdoor activities now that we seem to be more steadily heading towards upper 60s, lower 70s as our highs here. For those of you guys with Celsius, Google it. If I don't have it on the screen, just Google it. It'd be balmy. It'd be warm here. So, I thought this was going to be super quick because I really had no real projects to share, but somehow I managed to just carry this video up and do a whole lot of talking. So real quick, entertainment while walking. I am still listening to The Frighteners by Peter Laws. I will leave his YouTube channel, Into the Fog, linked down below. So this is kind of in the same vein of Dance Macabre by Stephen King, where he's talking about why we're scared, what we're scared of, why we seek the thrill of the morbid, or why morbid is a curiosity to us. He's got a very interesting perspective. He is a minister, so he's run into the same problems that I've had over the years, where the perception of the conflict between the morbid and spirituality seem to collide, even though they don't. A lot of this is basic human psychology. It has nothing to do, like, people who like the creepy and weird aren't necessarily serial killers. But he does talk a little bit more about the morbid than just like the horror. So while horror and horror tropes and horror characters are a huge part of this book, the morbid is the overarching theme with this one. So it's a fascinating read. Like I said a couple weeks ago when I was talking about this the first time, my biggest downside to listening to this on audiobook is Peter Laws does not narrate himself. I do enjoy listening to his voice. Once again, I am a sucker for a very good narrator and storyteller, and I would have preferred to hear him tell the story himself instead of having somebody else narrate it. That having been said, the narrator is doing an excellent job. It is very easy to get lost in the talking points of this book. It's not a storyline you're getting lost into, but you do kind of get lost into the conversation, even with a different narrator. So I'm still enjoying that. That is what I'm listening to when I'm walking, which means this week I've only listened to about an hour worth of the audiobook. I have about 2.5 hours left. The other thing we've been watching is Reacher. So Reacher season 3 has now come out on Amazon, slowly, episode by episode. We won't have another one for another 3 days. I should have waited for the whole season to be out. I did not realize that these were coming out 1 episode at a time. So I am a child of my age. And Anthony Michael Hall was a huge part of my childhood, but seeing him now as an adult actor, especially once he did Dead Zone, another Stephen King thing there, but really enjoyed him in that. But he, he was such a great teen actor. He was so much fun and relatable as a teen actor. And I really enjoy goofy, silly, fun, 80s, early 90s teen movies. But seeing him transition into an adult actor and being an adult person is fascinating. And I love watching him because he's actually believable in a lot of these roles, which I would not have necessarily. There are so many actors that I have a hard time seeing as functional adult people. So it was a little bit of a trippy trip when in the first episode he showed up, and definitely loving it. We're in the same, I feel the same way about this as I have the previous two seasons of Reacher. It's an action show. It's an adventure show. There are a lot of things that are unbelievable, very unbelievable to happen in a real person's life in the modern era. There are also the storytelling, the characters, and everything else make it engaging. So it's very easy to get caught up in the excitement and want another episode, which is the unfortunate position we're in, where we have to wait week to week now. So I don't know what we're going to entertain ourselves with on Sunday afternoon, because we'll have to, once that one episode is out, that'll be all we have. So we'll be gone most of Saturday and we'll be gone Sunday morning. So after that, I don't know what this weekend's going to look like. I did, and I will try to remember to leave a link down below for this as well. So last week, the meat-free Friday abstinence meal was Mediterranean lentil stew, which I finished off last night. It was phenomenal. I used red lentils, but you could use any lentils you want to use for that. I did add celery. I think I added extra onion and carrots, and you could easily add spinach to it as well, just to kind of get that like hidden vegetables thrown in there. I did mine in the Instapot. I do think I'd probably recommend if you want it to be mushy stew where it's more thick and kind of like mashed potato consistency, do it in the Instapot. If you want it to feel more like a soupy stew, do it on the stove top, because my lentils almost completely fell apart, which was fine, but it was great with dipping bread. And if I'd blended it up, it would have made an amazing dip in general for like vegetables or bread or anything like that. So I will leave the link for that down below. It was really, really good. This week, I think I'm going to do chickpea curry. So if I can find a recipe similar to what I do for my coconut chickpea curry, I will also leave that down below. So that is where we are, having to plan ahead and think ahead. But a number of you guys asked about what we were eating and we're making recommendations. So I figured I would share back what we're actually eating. So I am trying to get some beans back into my diet. It's been a little difficult, to be honest, having been very strictly low carb for so long. It feels very counterintuitive to try to put beans back into my diet, although I love beans. So that's the upside, is especially chickpeas and lentils, I love. So they're very high in nutrition. They're very high in fiber, very high in protein, but they just taste really good. Other than the nutrition factor, they do just taste good. And chickpeas for me are like the most versatile bean. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful, fantastic day. I look forward to seeing you guys real soon. Come back on Saturday for the mid-month check-in with the Year of the Make-Along month of March projects. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. Hey, guys. So I thought I'd more easily be able to share with you what my knitting needle box looks like right now if I shared a little video. I still love that cesium yarn sticker. There we go. Like I told you, all my yarny themed stickers, this is where they're going. I finally found a place for them.